Hey everybody, welcome back to Split Screen Media. This is going to be episode 15. For those of you who are new, we are a media-focused podcast. We do movies, TV, video games, music, all that kind of stuff. And we also cover any sort of media news and, delve a little bit into our personal lives. This week, my guest host, Chris Blankenship, is with us. Say hello to the people.
What's up, people?
What's up? And returning the OG guest, back again for a third time. Mr.
Repeat.
Joey Baden. How you doing, man?
The three-peat. Thanks for having me back.
He's been here for years.
Yeah.
How you doing tonight?
The next one has to be special because I'm the fourth, and if it's my fourth time returning, it's got to be something special, all right? So we got to make sure for the fourth we got something spicy.
Well, is 15 special? Like I feel like, you see like 15th anniversary and stuff. So this is kind of a special episode.
It's divisible by 5. I mean,
every episode is special.
It's a prime number, maybe. I don't know.
I just said it was divisible by 5. It's not a prime number.
That C's getting degrees sticking out.
Yeah.
Wait, it can still be divisible. Wait, no, prime number is just it can only be by itself, right? Or multiplied by like two numbers that are the same.
Itself and 1.
Itself in 1. Okay.
So like 37.
Okay.
Prime number.
So we're gonna say this is the prime number episode because it's 15.
Isn't 17 a prime? Literally in 2 weeks, we'll be at a prime episode.
We'll have another one then. It's fine. People love repeats.
Okay, cool.
Just like our main man Joey here.
Yeah.
Coming back. So we got a lot to talk about this week. I think the first thing we're going to discuss is the Borderlands movie, which I didn't know was happening until yesterday.
Right. Me too.
when they made this announcement. But so it looks like for the role of Roland, who is a playable character in the first game and then becomes sort of an NPC character throughout the rest of the series, he's going to be played by Kevin Hart. And then Lilith, who is the same, was a playable character turned NPC, is going to be played by Cate Blanchett. And I'm curious, having, all three of us having played these games and, loving these games probably to varying degrees, but, still a good time. What do you guys think of this news? Do you like this cast? Do you hate this cast? Who would you like to see if you don't like it?
Can I interject? It's also directed by Eli Roth. So if you're familiar with what he does.
What?
Yeah.
What is he? His name sounds familiar. Give me a movie that he's directed.
He does, like, have you heard of Green Inferno?
No.
Okay. A lot of his stuff is like very disturbing. There's a lot of not like horror elements, but just like sort of intentionally disgusting elements in his film.
Okay.
That it's sort of like the sickening factor, I guess, whatever you want to call that.
Perfect for Borderlands.
Yeah, which I guess that was when I was shocked. That wasn't necessarily me being like that's a terrible choice. It's just an interesting choice.
Yeah.
Like it's somebody.
They're making who's
the producer? Like is it Warner Brothers, Disney? Who's the Universal? Do we know any of that?
I don't even know who would own that property besides 2K, and I think that might be a division of Warner Brothers, but I'm not sure.
So it's written by Craig Mazin, who did the HBO series Chernobyl.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
But this article, Lionsgate Motion Picture Group, I think.
Okay.
They're the one who announced that Kevin was going to be in the movie, I think.
Okay.
So they'll probably be the ones that are producing it.
Eli Roth also did The House with a Clock in the Walls and Death Wish.
I didn't know he did The House with a Clock. That's the Jack Black one where it's like a kid's movie.
What a bizarre mix of movies.
Yeah.
No, Green Inferno is the one where they it's like a group of kids who are doing like a study abroad thing, like a group of college kids who are like, oh, we're gonna help out this African village, and then they, it's like a very, very old African village that are sort of traditional in how they approach day-to-day life, and they capture them and torture them and like do all this horrible shit to them.
That sounds like a Borderlands mission. So you know what?
Yeah, I mean, it would definitely fit into that universe. I think the games try and make light of what's happening, like the horrible, all the mutations and all the horrible shit that's going on in that post-apocalyptic world.
Mm-hmm.
But it would be interesting to see like a darker side of that, like them to sort of whatever you want, like Blade Runner it, I guess, where it's just like the grimier side of, you know, what something like that could look like. That might be interesting.
And to pivot off of that, I was gonna say, and I don't know if I like Kevin Hart as a choice for Roland, kind of based off of the fact that it's supposed to be kind of gritty like that. Kevin Hart he's really funny, but I just to me I don't see that fitting in with Eli Roth so far, based off what you guys have told me he's done. And if they're going for gritty and dark, I feel like Kevin Hart doesn't fit that very well.
So Kevin Hart as Roland, I think is an interesting choice. I won't say bad, but I'll say interesting. Because Roland is like this tall, muscular,
that's all I had to say. Tall
soldier. Yeah, well, I kind of wanted to be kind of realistic, so he's taller. Kevin's not, but he's a soldier, very serious type. And there's a lot, like, you could have cast Kevin Hart in a lot of different characters that are more funny.
It could have been Claptrap, and it would have been hilarious.
Yeah, Claptrap would have been like a perfect fit. I guess they have a different vision for it, though. I don't know. But he's just a very serious soldier, and I don't know if we're assuming that Kevin Hart's playing a funny role because that's what he does.
Yeah.
I know he does
slay as a not funny role, but just off of my head, I don't think I've seen him in a serious role, and not necessarily that Borderlands is going to be serious, but
yeah,
he's playing a serious character.
Yeah.
It's funny you bring that up because I was actually just talking about this earlier with somebody else, but the first time I saw Kevin Hart in a serious role was a movie called The Upside, which came out 2 years ago. I think it was in like late 2019. And it's first of all, it's terrible, but it's Bryan Cranston playing a quadriplegic, and then Kevin Hart has to like take care of him. Yep. And the role is supposed to be kind of serious because Kevin Hart sort of gets this job by accident, but he's sort of like this down on his luck guy, and he's not able to like see his kids, and he's I think he was like in jail or there's something preventing him from getting like normal work in the context of the movie.
But he was in jail, I think, and he has to do interviews for like his parole.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, I've seen that, and I've also seen the original, which is way better. It's a French movie called The Untouchables.
Oh, okay. So then, so you know exactly what I'm talking about when I'm going to say he was not cast well in that role at all, because he tries to like turn it into like a big comedy, and the movie isn't supposed to be funny, but like the jokes that are there aren't, because the movie's pretty poorly written to begin with, but his weird interjections of comedy don't work, and I'm worried that that's kind of going to be the same feeling with this Borderlands role.
There is a little comedy in the French version, but Kevin Hart kind of ruins it.
Yeah.
But he's also in Kevin Hart's also in Fatherhood, which hasn't come out yet, but it's supposed to be more of a drama, serious role. So I'm definitely going to check that out just to see how he does in that, and maybe that'll skew how I view the Borderlands movie, because I don't know if there's a release date yet for that, but it's definitely coming out a while from now.
Yeah, they've only got two people. Yeah, two people are cast right now.
Yeah, it'll probably be like late 2022, early 2023.
I think Fatherhood comes out this year. So
okay, well, that'll be an interesting thing to see, because he will have just done that, and if he's coming off the heels of that and he's good in it, then maybe that would be a good chance for him to sort of explore. But I mean, the character of Roland isn't all serious. Like, there's moments when you're playing the game, like, because that's kind of what you play generally if you're doing like a solo run through, is you want to have like the turret guy. But like, he'll get a headshot and he'll be like, critical bitch, and like he'll do like kind of funny stuff. So I'm wondering if I don't know if you guys can hear that right now. Is that super loud?
Yeah, what is that?
It sounds like a vacuum, I think.
There's construction going on in the bathroom, so I don't know.
Oh, okay. At the prime time of 8:30.
Yeah, the perfect time to do it.
Luckily, you don't have neighbors.
Yeah, that's true. It's just like it's so loud, dude.
Scott, there. Do you mind?
Do we want to cut that?
I can. Yeah, if we want to cut right here, I can move somewhere else and then do it. Is that cool with you guys?
Yeah, we can take a quick.
Hey everybody, sorry about that. We're back after some technical difficulties, some delays. I'm now sitting here in my garage. Hopefully you guys can't hear the saw sound again. But yeah, what the fuck were we talking about?
We were talking about Kevin Hart and Borderlands.
Okay. I feel like I was building up to some kind of point, and now I don't remember what it was. But I don't know. I think generally what I was saying was that there are moments where Roland is funny. Kevin Hart could fit that. I still don't think he's a great fit.
Bring in the guy from Tenet instead. Boom.
Yes.
Yeah. That's actually a
100%.
really good decision. I think that might be a little expensive. So I don't think the budget for this Borderlands movie is too big.
But Kevin
Really
Hart
I thought
is more expensive.
Would have a
I don't think so. I don't. Is
high
he?
budget.
Kevin Hart is like one of the most high-paid actors in Hollywood.
Oh.
He's up there with The Rock.
I feel like
One of their
Kevin
best
Hart's
buddies.
definitely more expensive than John David Washington.
Yeah, John David Washington's been in like 2 movies.
He's used to that football money though, for sure. He played for the Rams, I think.
The Rams, yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Well, I think I'm excited for this movie. I think it could be one of the best video game movie adaptations ever, or it could be one of the worst. I don't know which way it's going to go. But also the one thing about Borderlands that really carries it is its writing. So I think the writing of this movie is going to depend like on how it performs a lot.
Right. And I really hope that the original voice actors get some sort of role in there, whether it's not a cameo or something like that. I was lucky enough to get to see a lot of the Borderlands original cast at a convention that I went to, and they did like a voice actors after dark where they all were drinking and acting like themselves in character, and that you could tell that like they really enjoyed their roles that they were in, that they got into character. The fact that they were completely off script, drinking and having fun with it, and for them to be able to, I don't even know if they were even in the conversation to be able to play in the movie. But I hope they at least get some sort of cameo role to, keep it nice towards them.
The only one that we're not getting is Claptrap because
Yeah.
he got fired from the actual game for, I don't even remember what it was, but he got let go for some reason or another.
I don't remember what it was either.
I remember he was mad at them that like he felt like it was undeserved, but they brought in somebody else, and I guess if I had to choose though, I would say just because he's been so many like robot like small parts in a bunch of different movies, but Bill Hader would be an awesome Claptrap.
I think
that would be cool.
I like Alan Tudyk because he's also one of those guys who does like he can change his voice so much.
Alan Tudyk would be a great choice too. Yeah, he's probably less expensive too.
He's what, K2SO. He's
Sonny.
everybody. Yeah, Sonny from iRobot.
Yeah, great movie. Very underrated movie.
Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Also very underrated movie.
Hmm.
Yeah, the Lilith one I think might be, I don't know, because if I hadn't seen Thor Ragnarok, I would say it's a really bad choice. But Cate Blanchett kind of nailed the goth sort of weird aesthetic. Like I may not have loved her character, but she pulled off the look well. So she might be able to do something with Lilith. I always pictured her as like somebody who's a little bit younger.
Yeah, just be Haley Williams, please.
Yeah. No, exactly.
Lilith is 30 in the game. I think Cate Blanchett's like in her 50s, early 50s. So it's a little bit different, but I think with makeup you can probably fix it a little bit.
Yeah,
like
I mean,
Tobey Maguire being in high school.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if he can be in high school, then she can do whatever she wants. But
yeah,
do you guys?
Yeah.
All right, something just turned on back there. That's cool.
Oh, I thought that was the saw.
No, that was like something electronic just turned on behind me.
You might get murdered tonight. It's okay.
All right, you guys are looking more at my screen. Let me know if someone comes up behind me. Like, just give me a 2-second heads up. So
All right,
be prepared. This is the sketchiest episode we've.
You know,
oh my god,
it's a mess.
Do you know what is murder?
What
Xbox Live was going to charge us for, or what Microsoft was going to charge us for Xbox Live.
Oh, the segue, Chris. I love it. All right. Should we go through the whole thing? Because it's not really that long of a story. I feel like we can kind of catch people up.
Yeah, it's really not. It kind of took place over like one day this week.
No, yeah, it was literally less than 24 hours. So for anybody who doesn't know, Microsoft decided to increase the price of Xbox Live. So if you were paying $60 per year, if you had like that yearly contract with them to just re-up every single time it was over, then you would pay $60 for a year of Xbox Live. If you were doing, I think if you were doing month to month, or if you were doing the 3-month thing, then it equated about $120. And what they were going to do is make it so that no matter which plan you picked, it would cost $120. So even if you did the yearly one, it would go from 60 to 120. And they did this without, adding any new features, without updating their service at all. They were just like, oh, their excuse was basically that it's high time for us to do this because we've never increased the price of Xbox since we started with the original Xbox, which, I mean, not to get too biased right away, but is a bullshit excuse for just dicking over the entire customer base. And people were understandably pissed, and they went to Twitter and just bombarded Microsoft with like, this is ridiculous, we're all leaving, we're all going to Sony if this sticks. And less than a day later, Microsoft put out a "our bad" tweet and decided to retroactively go back on everything that they had done before. So it's like nothing happened at this point. There really isn't a news story here, but I just think this is super interesting because I want to get your guys' opinion on what you think Microsoft was thinking when they made this decision. Like, I don't know how that could have gone through their minds, of been like, oh yeah, no, this is a great idea of charging people more. They're going to love it.
So I'm going to share real quick. I just typed this out in Excel. So this is what you paid before. I should have denominated this as the dollars. So you paid, this was before. So for a month you paid 10, for 3 months you paid 25, 6 was 40, 12 was 60. And so this is how many months that would cost if you're going month to month. So like there's a discount here, right? So 3 months is, if you're going by like the 1 month cost, is actually you're only paying for like 2.5 months, and you get like half a month free, right? Same thing with like the year. Like you're paying for basically half a year, but you get the whole year if you buy in bulk. And then you come down here and you see like it's pretty much on par that you're paying $10 a month, no matter what plan, I guess, or what, if you buy in bulk or not.
Okay, so the only way you could get to 120 before is if you had the if you did the 1 month plan.
Right. So if you were on the 1 month plan, you would basically be paying $120. And that's what this is doing, is it's removing any incentive to buy in bulk, because you're basically like 1 month here, 3 months you're getting 3 months, 6 months you're getting 6 months, 12 months you're getting 12 months. There's no like here you're only paying for half a year basically. So yeah, let's get into our thoughts on it.
I don't know anyone who went month to month beforehand though. So there's probably a very small player base that was doing $120 a month, and they were like, oh well, I'm gonna go out on a limb. Let's say it's 20%. That's not right, but let's just say for in this case it is. They're like, oh, only 20% of people are paying the $120. Like, this is bullshit. We want everybody to pay $120.
Right.
But I think when you do something like this, when you dick everyone over, there has to be something that you get in return. So YouTube, when they started doing ads, they were like, it's going to be faster. There's going to be HD YouTube. You're going to be able to download video, like certain videos the creators want you to, but there's going to be ads. It's still free, but there's going to be ads. So the sting wasn't as bad because you're like, well, at least I get all these new services. The thing with Xbox is that they didn't do anything.
Yeah.
There's no like new game service. There's no, oh, you get even more free games now with gold. Like, it's exactly the same. And they were just like, nope, we're going to increase the price.
So I actually pay month to month at the $10 rate. I don't buy in bulk.
So this wouldn't have affected you at all, really.
It wouldn't have. And it actually made me think about how to Microsoft. I mean, I'm one person, but it actually made me think about how I pay for this. And it makes me think, like, should I switch to a year, or when I get the PS5, should I just cancel Xbox Live for a month and like save the money? It really put a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah.
I do like that thank God they were able to be cyberbullied into reversing it. And they did actually, the weirdest thing was they added something new during the reverse. So when they first announced it, there was going to be nothing new except for, hey, guess what? $60 more, biatch.
Yep.
But when they reversed it, they said, oh, and by the way, you can now play free-to-play games without gold. And I thought that was interesting. That was like, why did you have to get cyberbullied into doing that? Like that should have been in your first announcement. People still would have been mad, but like, why was that on the table in the first place? And you waited until the reverse to put that up. So now, I guess now you can play Fortnite without a gold subscription.
Let's also make something clear up front as well. All of these online services, PlayStation, Nintendo, Xbox, they should all be free.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
From the get-go, they should be free. It's ridiculous that it costs money for you to play games that you own. That's absolutely absurd. It's been absurd for 2 decades now.
Yeah.
But the fact that they were thinking about doubling the price of it makes me laugh even harder.
And I want to talk about how stupid like doubling it was. What they should have done is said, "Hey, so like it's usually a year of gold or a year of PlayStation Plus cost about as much as a AAA game. $60 for a game, $60 for a year. Basically, it's how I usually do it in my head, basically.
Right.
With the new systems, games are probably going to go up to $70 pretty soon here. Make it go up to 70. You're going to get a little bit of a bump in your margin. People are going to groan a little bit, but at least you'll have a little bit of reasoning behind it. But for the most part, you don't get bullied by the internet for being an absolute greedy fuck."
Yeah, one of the things that I thought about was the discussion that we had about going from 60 to 70 and how I brought up inflation and how really $60 games in 2005 would cost $80 today. And they were kind of adjusting the 1 month for inflation. And if they were doing that, that's fine. Like I don't mind paying a little bit more because time has gone on and inflation has risen. But this is just, you're completely taking away the bulk discount. And I don't know if they did like a cost analysis, like, well, we're going to get some negative feedback from this, but is it really that bad if we can squeeze an extra $60 out of people?
I think it's also that they're trying to say, oh, well, now if you spend just like $1 or $2 more than that, you get Game Pass. So I think it was a big push towards Game Pass too, to say, because what Game Pass is 12 for regular, 14 for Ultimate, I think. So like, oh man, I mean, just for like
supersize
20 more bucks, you could get Game Pass.
Well, the reason
instead,
the reason this is happening in general, the reason the price increase they try to do it is because I guarantee you something is wrong with Game Pass financially. Like they have to not be making money on this thing. And there's an interesting article that came out a couple months ago where PlayStation said the Microsoft model isn't sustainable. And it's not just because we're a smaller company, but it's just because setting up a service like that for that cheap isn't financially viable. You run into the Movie Pass thing. It's literally the same exact reason why Movie Pass is dead right now, because you tried to get all these movies to get on board. You try to get all these theaters to get on board, and you're, giving away these tickets for nothing basically, and you're not seeing any return on it. And eventually you're just going to stop making money. And that's what happened. And that's why Movie Pass is no longer a thing. So it's even harder for Microsoft because Game Pass has become their flagship service for Xbox Live. It's the one thing they've put all their eggs into that, online digital basket. And if it is failing, which I think it is, I don't know how they're going to roll that back. I don't know how now they're going to say, hey, we can't do this anymore.
Well, I was going to say what they've been doing too, as opposed to Movie Pass, where their plan was to try and talk the movie people into giving them a cheaper discount, or whatever the hell their terrible game plan was. Microsoft has been either like all of their developed games are what's on Game Pass, or the studios that they're buying are going on Game Pass. So at least they're kind of building in sustainability into it to where they're not paying as much overhead to rent the license. So like, when they had Grand Theft Auto 5 on there, they had, I'm sure, had to pay Rockstar a pretty penny to have Grand Theft Auto 5 on the Game Pass. But when it's one of their Microsoft Studio games like Minecraft, you don't have to pay any overhead for that, and besides just paying for your developers, the rest is overhead. Like the rest goes to your pocket basically. So at least with Game Pass, they seem to have sustainability built in there. But yeah, it's just one of those things that's really tough to start making money on.
But the fact that they tried to do this price increase tells me that it's not working out how they thought it was going to, at least.
I think they wanted it to be a little quicker. And also, the terrible decision is with how I think I talked to you with this Connor about how it's the middle of a pandemic and a lot of people are out of jobs. There is a shortage on consoles on both sides, and you decided during that time where people are still trying to flip a coin and decide which one to go with, that you're going to make your service more expensive.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I think that this was a Suits decision. This wasn't like I don't think Phil Spencer or like the Xbox team had as much to do with this as the Microsoft Suits had to do with it. And they're like, make it be like double it. I think that this is more on their end.
It's a corporate decision for sure, but
yeah. This stinks of just being completely disconnected and knowing how most of the Microsoft team is really, or like the Xbox Microsoft team is really engaged with the community and stuff like that. I really think that this came from above their heads.
It definitely doesn't instill a lot of confidence in me for the future of Microsoft, knowing that at any point in time they can be, hey, this is going to double again. If they tried it now, it will happen again in the future. I promise you.
Yeah,
this is not a one-time thing.
I think, I mean, Microsoft as a company is totally fine. Like, they're not going under anytime soon.
No,
right.
And they can bankroll a lot of stuff like Game Pass, which is nice. But I don't really utilize Game Pass that much. Is Game Pass too oversaturated with games? Like, I feel like you could just pay for Game Pass and have like a lot of games and actually save money.
There's a lot of indie garbage on there that they're just like they need to fill their library, and it's not all good stuff. I mean, there's probably like 10 to 20 games that you're like, oh, I would probably play that, and the rest of it is like, what is this? Like, I've never heard of this in my entire life. And, you know, I think that was where they were going for, like, oh, we have a few good games that are expensive, and then we can give these guys, you know, $20 and a McDonald's Happy Meal, and they'll let us put their game on here, you know. So it's more about quantity than it is quality when it comes to Game Pass.
And they have a kind of like how Netflix, they have like a rotating thing too, where like some of them will go out eventually, some of them will get added on eventually and stuff like that. And then to help out with those developers, when a game is about to leave Game Pass, you can buy it for like a 50% discount or something like that. So if there's a game that you started playing, you're like, I really enjoyed this, and it's like, damn it sucks that it's leaving Game Pass, you can get it for hella cheap.
I actually didn't know that, and that is a cool feature.
Yeah, it's it reminds me of I think that there's a board game bar I used to go to that you could go and eat at and play board games. I think you went there with me, Chris.
Yeah.
And then you can like get a discount off of the board game at the end of your meal. You know, if you played a game, you liked it enough, you get like 10% off, 20% off when you go to check out, if you just want to buy the board game you played while you eat.
That place was a lot of fun.
This almost makes me wonder if like PlayStation was in the war, like they were planning on doing something like this, and then Microsoft got to it first, and then they just like they saw what happened, and they literally just took those plans and crumpled them up and threw them in the trash can. Like,
they have the PlayStation, whatever the hell theirs is called, right? PlayStation Now.
No. They do have that. I meant the price hike. Like they were planning on increasing the price, and then they were like, yeah, we're not doing that.
Yeah. That's probably exactly what happened. Because you know that like one has an informant on the other. Like, you know that they're basically giving each other's information the whole time. Right. Yeah, in some way or another, something leaks to the other one, and now they're just trying to figure out who's going to be the first to jump.
Yeah, exactly. Well, speaking of companies that started out doing well and
get there.
I don't know. We're going to talk about GameStop. I don't have anything clever. This
GameStop
leave the segues to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of companies that were doing well and are now doing phenomenal.
Yeah.
More like companies that were about to go bankrupt and then now are worth $350 a share.
Yeah. So Chris, you definitely know more about this than I do. So do you want to kind of give a little bit of backstory about what's been happening with their stock in general?
Yeah. So this applies a little bit to AMC's as well, but not to the degree of GameStop. Basically, GameStop, their share price about, I don't know, a week or two ago, it was like 19, $20, and before that
$20.
it was like $5. Like if you go a couple months back, which is, it's GameStop, and a lot of people thought GameStop was going to go out of business, and we actually had a discussion about it like not too long ago.
One of my first episodes.
Yeah, and so I guess the guys over at Wall Street heard us. They listen to this podcast, which is nice. And
shout out SEC.
Yeah, shout out to SEC. And they started shorting GameStop's stock, which is, they're basically borrowing shares and selling it at $5, hoping that it goes to zero. That way they don't have to buy their shares back, or they buy it back technically at $0. Because that's how shorting works. You borrow and sell a share now and hope the company fails and the share price goes down, so that when you buy it back, it's cheaper than what you sold it for and you make a profit. Well, they oversold their share, or they shorted more than there was shares, and so somebody on Reddit on Wall Street Bets found that out, and they said, look, we can drive this price up and there's nothing they can do about it because they shorted so much. And so the aggregate of Redditors just went and started buying a ton of GameStop stock. And yeah, GameStop. And so it spiked to something crazy like $350.
347 was the peak today.
It closed of today, yeah.
So like these hedge fund guys, they bought it, or they sold it. They borrowed and sold at 20, and now when they have to buy back, they have to buy back at 350. So they're losing like 330 a share, which is insane.
Per person that has
per share,
and
per
everybody
stock,
who has a share, yeah.
So their losses, and that's the thing about shorting is, if you buy like if you're just trying to invest in GameStop at $5, you put $5 in, get one share. If it goes under, you're out $5. You can only lose as much as you put in. But with shorting, you can only lose as much as the company does well. And if that company does extremely well, like infinitely well, your losses just continue to pile up, and that's what we're seeing. So
they're at like what, 2.5 billion losses right now, last I remember which is reading about, and it's obviously still going up.
Yeah, it's a drop in the bucket of like what hedge fund managers actually do and all these investment companies do, but it proves kind of a point where like they were trying to be greedy and just short a ton, and they got caught on it, and Reddit found out because you can see all that stuff. Like there's like information available about the stock market, so they found out. And yeah, so Joey, you mentioned there's some guy who has like a ton of these shares.
Yeah, so I've perused on Wall Street Bets for basically as long as I had Reddit. I remember reading about it, and it's a bunch of memes and all that kind of stuff. They always joke about getting stock so they can buy attendees and stuff like that. Like they're just a bunch of memers who are just making stupid bets for a crap ton of money. And there was a guy
losing a crap ton of money,
which is more likely in that subreddit most usually. Yeah. But this is just the once in a lifetime where it's going the wrong way. But so there was a post back in 2019 by a guy with a username Deep Fucking Value, and he said he's basically said, I'm gonna put $50,000 on GameStop when it was it was worth $5 or whatever right around then, and he said by April. He bought an option. So he said, was it by April 2021? It's going to reach $12, which was going to be more than doubling it. And if you look at the history of GameStop, it had never even like it hadn't hit $12 since it was in its peak back when we were younger. So he got it for really, really cheap. And then this happened. And
how much does he have?
So when he posted today his update, he was up to $47 million is how much that's worth. So he turned $50,000 into $47 million, and it's still going up, and it will probably keep going up to the end of this week. A lot of those shorts have to get cashed in by Friday.
Yeah.
So there's a really good chance that there's been talks about trying to get GameStop stocks up to $1,000 per share, which is Amazon. Like Amazon is at that
Yeah.
much for reference, and this is just a GameStore that almost died a month ago.
I put those two companies on the same level,
Yeah.
wouldn't you?
Yeah.
And
They're doing just as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I mean, it's come to the point. It's made international news. AOC and Bernie Sanders have been tweeting about it and stuff like that. Like, it was the most sold stock in the world yesterday.
I
My
believe
wife and Bernie Sanders.
Yeah. I believe
And-
the SEC is looking into it.
Yeah,
now.
they're actually trying to investigate Wall Street bets because they were talking about if it's manipulation. They're like, no, it's just people
No,
like
they-
I like
people,
this thought. The manipulation has actually been happening on the hedge fund side.
Right.
I've been learning about it to where they set up bots to buy the stock and then sell it at a lower price than it's worth to try and force the stock to go down so they could save their own ass. And obviously it's not working. And they also tried to create bots to start posting on the Wall Street Bets Reddit to say, oh, you guys should sell now, you know, because it's basically as soon as the Reddit goes to sell, it'll plummet back down again. But as long as they hold, it's going to keep going up because there's more demand than there is supply.
I got
think-
bills. I would sell.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah, Christ.
If I was,
I
if
don't
I
have
was,
the balls to do what they're doing. As soon as my account hits a milli, I'm out.
Yeah.
Done.
I was gonna say is the guy who has like 47 million. He could sell like a couple. You know, make a cool milli. See what happens. If it goes back down to $5,
I know
You
at
know,
one point
but-
he sold out enough. He sold out some of them, so he got 700,000, and then he just reinvested the 700,000 back into GameStop for this exact same position,
Oh, okay.
and it's still going up. So he started with 53, profited off of that a little bit, switched it up to where he put 700,000 in from his own profits from that, and now it's where it's at.
I'm almost wondering if I should still like buy a stock.
I don't think so. I think it's too volatile.
The other ones that they've been talking about, like Chris mentioned earlier, was AMC and BlackBerry, are the two that are also kind of in the same position where there's a lot of shorts for it. I actually put a couple. I put $40 in each of those, and I was like, at the end of the day, I'll either lose like $80 or I'm gonna be, you know, getting some free lunch.
Yeah, it probably won't get GameStop crazy, but it'll
Yeah.
definitely, I think, go up a little bit more.
Oh,
I also-
never put more in than you're willing to lose, you know. And I was
Right.
like, you
Yeah.
know what? It's been something I've been looking at for a while. But I've been trying to like read about it, watch videos about it, and stuff like that. And I was like, I'm gonna give it a shot and see if I get rich. You know what?
This is exclusively for this type of scenario. I would always suggest to put into an IRA or match
yeah.
index funds, all that stuff, all the conservative investing. But with this stuff, I think it's too volatile. Like I think it's gonna crash soon. Like it's like when Bitcoin craze was 2 years ago or whatever, and people were like, oh, should I buy now? And it's like already spiked. Like no, you should have bought before the spike. But
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still gonna go up though. I mean, it's not gonna crash in the next like day or two. It'll still be going up for at least a couple days. So
And
again, it's too late, but
And I want to say too, all the rich people that are a bit more memey, like Elon Musk, has also been he tweeted the Wall Street Bets subreddit out and basically just put up a little like a little moon and rocket ship logo, like the skyrocketing. And he actually said he put up a tweet today, which made me laugh super hard. And it said, "If GameStop hits $1,000, I will put their logo on my next rocket ship."
that's pretty cool.
And I was like, I just want that to happen now.
I
I have no financial interest in GameStop, unfortunately. I just have been watching it unfold, and I just really want to see that go. Like literally, see GameStop go to the moon would be hilarious.
Well, that was something I wanted to mention too, which I don't really, have the editing chops to put it up here, or else I would post our Facebook conversation. But back in September, you and I had discussed buying GameStop stock when it was at $2.
Yep. We're like,
We were like, oh, let's put
it'll
in,
go
like-
back up. It'll live.
Yeah, I was like,
or we'll lose like $2, and then
and I was actually genuinely planning on doing it, but like I couldn't access my Robinhood account because I just forgot the password, and I was like, whatever, I don't feel like doing this right now. And and man, was that a fucking mistake.
yeah. From that point, it's gone up 3,000%.
Yeah. So
yeah, we looked at the math, and like Joe, if you put in $40, that back when it was $5 a share, just $5 a share, you'd have just under $3,000.
Yeah, which is absolutely insane.
Which is in stock and is totally volatile and can go up or down. You know, so but
yeah, if you sold out right now, oh my god.
Yeah. Also,
well,
they hired the guy from Chewy with Greg Connor.
Yeah, so he came on as somebody in upper management. I'm not sure exactly what his position is, but he came on January 11th, I believe, and that was the point where the stock hit like $30 or $40. So I'm not crediting his joining of the company to what's happening right now. To it,
I bet he is.
I bet he is, absolutely.
Dude, his performance review, he's gonna be just slapping his meat down and being like, "Listen, guys."
I just bring in a stock market, like the chart of the ticker for GameStop, and just be like, "This, like, look at this."
But he's basically, an e-commerce giant with Chewy.com, which Chris informed me I didn't know, but is a pet store, an online pet store.
Online pet store.
And I think this, going back to episode 1, which you were also on, Joey, I think this goes back to what we were talking about, where GameStop is going to move in the direction of either being an all digital game store where you can only purchase things online, or it'll be more like a Steam type thing where it is like strictly digital games that hold their value based on their own marketplace, kind of like what Steam does. So that's definitely the direction that they're moving in, and that's probably why they saw that and it raised to like $30 or $40. But this is strictly because of what's happening with the Reddit community.
Yeah, literally, Reddit is doing this, and it's fantastic.
I kind of wish, I wish they didn't like Wall Street and all those guys didn't actually short this, so we could see the change with, like the new guy, and see how GameStop's like plans going forward change. But
have you guys been in a GameStop recently?
I can't tell you the last time I have.
I went in, I go fairly frequently now just because it's one of the few spots that, again, because they don't do a lot of business, nobody's in. And it's nice to just have somewhere to like walk around and, see stuff that I like, video games, do the same thing at the local comic book shop. But what they're doing now at GameStop is very strange, because they're getting rid of a lot of the games. Like the actual rows of games, there's probably only like maybe 40 or 50 for each system, which is super low. And they installed a bunch of TVs everywhere that look like eventually they might be playable. Like they'll have like the demo things that come back, or maybe even when COVID's over, they're going to start hosting tournaments and making it feel more like a comic book shop. So if that's where they're going with the brick and mortar, I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, and I think we had mentioned that on my first episode too, about they need to kind of revolutionize into being kind of like a restaurant hangout area type thing that sells games rather than just being a game store or a game and merchandise store.
Yeah, and now it seems like that's going to be secondary to what they're trying to do. But if you guys get the chance, go into any GameStop near you right now, and I guarantee you it'll have all those TVs. So we'll see where that goes. But yeah, I think this might be a story that we come back to maybe next week when it kind of develops or ends, I guess.
I think it'll end by next week.
Friday's going to be interesting. Friday's really
Friday's the day to watch it. I think
GameStop to the moon.
Yeah.
So watch this podcast and then check it out.
I just want it to touch 1,000 just so I can see the GameStop logo on a rocket ship, because that'd be amazing.
Yeah, I won't make a prediction on if it'll go to 1,000 or not. Because you know what? If you told me GameStop stock was at 350 a week ago, I would have laughed in your face.
Yeah, exactly.
But
all right, well, do we want to move on to the my new favorite thing that we do here?
Which is
the tier list.
Oh, you're right. I forgot we were doing that.
Yeah, so we're gonna do another tier list today, guys. We had a lot of fun. I don't know if anybody who's listening joined in on the 13th episode,
I believe
12th episode, something like that. We did a tier list for fast food chicken places, and because we have one of our resident Star Wars experts on.
You got my Star Wars shirt on.
Oh yeah, look at that! Perfect. This is literally the perfect shirt for this. But we're gonna do that, and so it's basically you and Joey Burt. Like anytime you guys are on, we always talk about Star Wars.
At least a touch of it. I like it.
Yeah, we get a hint. So we're gonna do a tier system for I think it's all of the Star Wars movies, including the spin-off ones.
Yeah, there's Solo here, so
Yeah, and
The only one that isn't on here is the animated 3D Clone Wars. But everything else, all the live action stuff is on here.
That's obvious S tier. S for stinky.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're gonna do
super shitty.
We're gonna do our split screen media consensus with Joey. So where do you guys want to start? You want to start with the classics?
Do you want to? Yeah, I was gonna say, do you want to just go down the list, or you want to go like when they from release date? Because we can start with the old ones.
Let's just go straight down the list. Okay.
All right, so let's do that's Attack of the Clones.
Attack of the
Go ahead and
Clones.
slap that in D.
Yeah, let's slap that in D real quick. All right.
No explanation.
Clone Wars show, A to S. The Clone Wars movie, D.
Where would you guys put the Mandalorian if that was an option?
It's a great question. For me, it would probably be somewhere between B and A.
Mine would be between S and A.
I was gonna solidly say A.
A it is.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. There we go. Empire S.
Empire.
That's easy.
Yeah. I was gonna say that's yeah.
I think we can all agree on that. This
Joe,
one. This one.
Do
is
you
tough.
agree with us here?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Okay.
It's in my opinion, it's the second best Star Wars. I know that's a pretty controversial thing, and we'll get to that in a little bit here. But it's still S tier. It's still like opposite one of the best.
This one is tough because I think Force Awakens, depending on what mood I'm in, could really go anywhere on this list.
Okay.
But if I had to choose, I would say it's probably between like B and C, but I'm more favoring B.
That I would say between B and C, and I'm not really favoring either.
I think wherever A New Hope goes, it goes because it's the same fucking movie. But I agree. I would also say between B and C was also what I was looking at. So I'm not sure if we want to be kind or mean to it, but
Why don't we throw it in B for now, and then we'll see where everything else ranks.
That's what I was saying. Why don't when we rank all of these, we kind of just give it a second look and say, is this valid?
just go ahead and throw that in the garbage.
Yeah, I almost
Can we go beneath D?
Yeah, I almost want to keep it down there as like F tier.
Yeah, there should be an F tier.
Just
like down here,
unranked, unranked garbage.
Yeah, so if we leave it in the bottom at the end of this, you guys know it's F tier. But yeah, that movie is horrible. It's the worst Star Wars movie far and away. There's nothing redeemable about it. It's a horrendous piece of shit. Let's move on.
We've spent more time on it than we needed to.
Yeah. A New Hope is A for me.
Okay.
I think A is judging if because we're kind of comparing it to every other movie. I think it's a very good movie, but I think comparing it is A is a good spot for it.
It does not hold up as well as Empire does visually. It's still, I mean, it's a masterclass for 1970s special effects. Don't get me wrong, but like watching it now, it feels a little dated, and I think Empire still looks good, which would be like the key difference for me from putting it from S to A.
Okay. Phantom Menace. Where do we want to put that one?
I think that's a C.
I know that you.
I think it's a C or a B for me.
I would put it. You guys aren't gonna like this. I would put it A tier for sure.
I'm gonna. You said B or C, Joey?
Yeah.
Do we want to split the difference and say B? Because I'm willing to kind of lean on Connor because he has recommended to rewatch the prequels and he said it's better like now, but
I think it's one of those things. I think that movie in particular kind of goes up and down with how people feel about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not Attack of the Clones where people are like, yeah, it's shitty. Most of that movie's shitty. There's only a few good parts. But the opinion of Phantom Menace changes so much. But I feel like I'm the only person in the world who's always loved Phantom Menace. Well, I just think
I've come to appreciate it more having seen the sequel trilogy.
I think, yeah, that's very true. That's how I feel about all the prequels, honestly. I think Phantom Menace, for all of its goofiness, and there's a lot of goofiness and a lot of stupid shit in that movie. I would never deny that. But I think it's paced very well. I think aside from like a lot of the side characters, I think the overall story is pretty well written. I think it has a lot of really good Star Wars sequences. You get the battle on Naboo, you get the Darth Maul fight, obviously pod
Right.
racing, which
The
still
music,
looks incredible.
the Darth Maul fight music, Duel of the Fates.
Yeah. Get Duel of the Fates, the best Star Wars song.
Like Duel of the Fates S tier.
Yeah. So I would honestly, I don't feel comfortable putting it in B, but if it pleases everyone else, I'm here for it.
And to kind of go back on Clone Wars, I wouldn't mind putting it at C exclusively because of the fight in the arena, the Geonosia fight. Like to me that's one of the cooler scenes in Star Wars too. All the Jedi and all the clones and all the droids fighting each other at the same time.
Oh, you're talking about Attack of the Clones.
Attack of the Clones, sorry, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I was saying just if we wanted to put Last Jedi on the D and then move Attack of the Clones up to a C, I'm cool with that too.
I would be okay with that as well.
I was thinking about that.
For that sequence alone is amazing.
Okay.
Yes. Or Obi-Wan and Anakin getting saved by a frog on ketamine.
All right. See, this is where it gets interesting. I would put this in B tier because I think it's better than Attack of the Clones for sure, but Return of the Jedi is good at the beginning and good at the end, and the middle kind of sucks.
It's slow in the middle for sure, but like I love how it like wraps up the series. Like I think it really, unfortunately the sequel trilogy kind of ruined it, but like it really wrapped everything up in a nice bow for me, which made me happy.
I almost want to jump this up to A. Just based off that we have it ranked with Phantom Menace.
Yeah, I can't rightfully put Return of the Jedi not above Phantom Menace.
I don't think I can
right next to it.
I can't put my seal on this list then because I genuinely think Phantom Menace is a better movie overall than Return of the Jedi. Because like for 60 to 70% of it, it's boring as shit. Nothing happens. He goes back to Dagobah and Yoda just dies and he's like, all right, I'm leaving here. And then the Ewoks make C-3PO like a king and there's a bunch of bad comedy. And then the end happens, which is good. And the movie's over. Like you get Jabba's palace and you get one of the best space battles in Star Wars, which is at the end. And then the middle is just boring shit.
And I think that middle boring shit is still better than Jar Jar Binks.
I'll never understand the hate for Jar Jar, but
which we have a Jar Jar surprise probably next podcast, right, Connor?
Oh, we do.
I don't like that. Please don't ever say that again. Jar Jar surprise sounds like an Urban Dictionary thing. Jesus Christ!
It does. Yeah, it does.
It really does.
So, leave in the comment section what you think. If you search Jar Jar surprise on Urban Dictionary, what would the definition be?
Rogue One for me. Moving on, Rogue One is S tier for me. That is my favorite Star Wars movie of all time. And for me, it's an easy S tier.
Yeah, I think. For me, it's between S and A. If we put it in S, I'd be fine. If we put it in A, I feel fine.
Okay, I was thinking more A, but I'm willing to kind of concede a little bit. So
just for me, it's just like the whole movie is fantastic to me. The whole action sequences are great. It adds to the universe in a not distracting way. Like for me, it's just easily, and then obviously it has today's special effects and stuff like that.
Do you guys really think that Return of the Jedi is as good as Rogue One?
Oh my god!
Because if we put it in A, that's where it's going, and I don't agree with that at all.
I think the problem is it's hard to just put it because we only have 5 rankings, and you're like, well, if these two are next to each other, do you really think they're better than
No, I wish there was one lower because
I'm cool with if we move Return down. I feel like Phantom has to go down to C, where it belongs.
No, Phantom is definitely better than Attack of the Clones.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
I agree with that as well. Do you guys want to put these two together in D? Like that?
Yeah,
that hurts me a little bit because I think that Attack of the Clones is infinitely better than Last Jedi.
No, let's leave it where it is.
But you have to remember, like, this is just grouping. So, like, even though it's it's worse than this movie, or it's better than this movie, it's still in D tier.
Right. I guess I just wish there was an F tier.
Yeah.
So
So I don't mind keeping Attack of the Clones in C. I'm okay with that.
How did
we
we
wanna-
divvy this up? Do I need to move anything down?
No,
Move attack back
Just
up.
move Attack back, and it'll be fine.
Oh, okay.
The only one I really disagree, like if you swap Phantom and Return of the Jedi, I think we would be kind of on par. But I know you guys don't want to do that, so let's move on.
Okay.
Episode 3. Based on where everything else is, I'd probably put. put it
for all
like,
the memes.
I'd say B tier.
I was thinking B as well. I think
I
it's solid.
I go B.
In high school, that was my fucking jam.
Yeah. I feel like it could go. Yeah.
The lightsaber fight on Mustafar, easily like one of the best fight scenes too. Like, so good.
The visual design and concepts in that movie are great. It's just the plot is super weak.
I haven't seen Solo, so you guys
You can put it down there in D.
I was gonna say I like C for it. Personally, it's one of those things where like it adds stuff to the universe, but in a terrible way. But I really like the setting a lot. Like I love it. It adds a lot to the seedier part of the universe, which I love seeing more of. But then it adds more to Han Solo's character that we didn't need, and I hate that part.
It is the most unnecessary Star Wars movie I've ever seen.
Yeah, so like where Rogue One is like it's great because it explains, where the plans came from, how they got to R2D2, like how we got to where we started in New Hope. You didn't have like Solo was we just wanted to bank off of Solo's popularity. So for me it's C, but I'm comfortable leaving it in D2 because it's nowhere near like top tier.
Okay.
I think, well, the reason I say that is because of what's next. I think Rise of Skywalker is better than Solo marginally.
So you're saying C for Rise of Skywalker?
Yeah.
That's tough. I like the parts of the Rise of the Skywalker where they shit on Last Jedi, and then that's about it. I liked more of Solo than I liked more of Rise of Skywalker.
Solo committed the worst sin to me, which is that it's fucking boring. Like I would rather have a Star Wars movie that's terrible and entertaining than one that's like mediocre and boring.
That's fair.
And it's definitely, I think Rise of Skywalker is definitely terrible and entertaining. It's like it's paced like a fucking Transformers movie. Like it's not good.
Yeah.
It's not a good film. It's not a good plot. It doesn't have good characters, but it just has a lot, period.
I just wanted something that happens in Rebels to come in and erase the whole sequel trilogy. Just save us from it.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if they did do something like that. I don't like this list at all. There's so much I disagree with on this list.
Okay, so now that we have kind of a preliminary placement, Connor, what changes?
Well,
and don't just tell me Phantom Menace.
No, it's not fair for me to say that because it's all personal. I was being a little over dramatic. I do think this in general is a good list. I agree with a lot of the placement on here. I would definitely move Phantom Menace higher, and I would move Return of the Jedi lower.
You would swap these two.
I would probably swap those two, and yeah, I think again, it's hard because I wish there was an F tier because I feel like I would definitely want to differentiate between the terribleness of like Rise of Skywalker and The Last Jedi and Solo. I feel like they could all be tiered out differently.
Well, do we were talking about using like the unmarked spot. So if we were to make that a quote unquote F tier,
we could also just have 11 tiers and just have this as a ranked list.
Yeah.
So like if we were to like move Last Jedi down to where like it isn't set and then it's F tier.
Yeah, if we move Last Jedi down, I would be comfortable with moving.
Oh, I can't.
Yeah, you can't. But I would move Rise of Skywalker down next to Solo, and then I would have Last Jedi below that. If that makes sense.
Okay.
How do you guys feel? Or do you feel like you were?
Do you guys want to see the community?
Yeah.
I feel like this is a pretty good list. Like I said, I can't speak for Solo, but I can agree with this. I could put my stamp of approval on it.
I think the community list is going to be wildly different.
But the community list probably got memed to high hell, and it's just all the prequels are S. But let's see.
Oop.
Oh, I think I saw one that just had Rise of the Skywalker is S. Is what it says on that one. So that's a no from me.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. This is the community one. So they have Last Jedi at B. With Phantom Menace as well. That's where we had it.
What? This list sucks.
This is based on the community.
So just all the originals are S, and I mean,
I don't agree with this one.
I definitely don't agree with that one.
It's just, I tell you, that's just for the memes, man. Like
that's true. I did jokingly put this up here. I think for the memes.
I feel like we have to like. I can't believe they put Last Jedi above Rise of the Skywalker. I think that's the part that hurts me the most. Like this list is like it's serviceable if you switch those two.
It really does. Yeah, I mean, again, Return of the Jedi is not S tier in anyone's list. I don't think.
That's very. I don't know if I put that as S. I still like it. Like I think the best part about it is like watching it just kind of makes me happy. And even if it is slow on the parts, like the beginning sucks me in, and the end leaves me like super happy at the end. And like at the end of the day, like that's what I needed at the end of my Star Wars trilogy. That nice warm fuzzy feeling. You got the redemption arc of Vader, all that kind of stuff. Like it wrapped up all the stories I wanted it to wrap up in a nice polite bow. So maybe that's why I'm a little bit more rose. I might be a little rose colored on Return of the Jedi, like you are with Phantom Menace.
Yeah, and that's totally true. I mean, there's obviously a massive amount of bias that goes into.
Like you've watched that like 30 times when you stayed at your dad's house. So
more than that. I've seen this movie hundreds of times at this point. Like every single weekend for my entire life for like 3 years, I watched that movie. Yeah, and it's one of those things too. I think over the years, people's tastes change, or like what you find interesting in a Star Wars movie can change. And they also got rid of Yup Yup, which was the best Star Wars song. And that's unacceptable.
So, Connor, we are at about time. Just
at about time?
Yeah.
Okay. Are we like a little over? Or?
We're a couple minutes over, I believe.
A couple minutes over. Okay. Well, this is probably a good time to wind things down. Sorry to everyone watching. This episode was so chaotic. But yeah, thank you again for watching. Thanks for sticking with us. We really appreciate it. 15 episodes feels like it's flown by.
Were y'all still doing the recommendations that you mentioned earlier?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's right. Shit. Joey knows this.
You are prepared. And we didn't do them last week. We apologize.
Prepared. I got invited on 3 minutes before recording.
Yeah, we're very professional here. We like to plan things ahead.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that's why we don't have a mystery topic this week either. But we figure the tier list can kind of make up.
That was a fill-in.
Yeah, it was a fill-in mystery. We didn't know how we would all place it. That was a mystery.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Do you guys have? Do you want me to go first for recommendations?
Yeah.
Okay. I was eating Nerds candy earlier, and they have like these giant nerds that are chewy, and those are really good. But the ones that I really like, which are my weekly recommendation, it's like Nerds rope, but it's bite-sized pieces. So they have like the gooey stuff in the middle, and then it's a bunch of nerds surrounding it on a clump, and then they put like 800,000 of them in a bag, and it's incredible. Like that, if you guys haven't tried that, it literally just tastes like mini Nerds rope. It's awesome.
I think one of my teeth just fell out hearing that. That sounds delicious. Nerds ropes are amazing.
Oh yeah, the best.
For my recommendation, I don't really have much, but I did watch the documentary on John McAfee, because he lived. I don't know if you guys know about this. There's like a documentary about his whole crazy life. He like went to Belize and like all this shit. It's kind of an interesting watch, but it's kind of slow. So my recommendation is not to watch that movie. Watch like a 10-minute YouTube summary of it and get the story, because the story is really interesting. The documentary just takes forever to get through. So my recommendation: watch like a 10-15-minute YouTube essay on John McAfee's life.
I don't know who that is.
He created McAfee's antivirus software. that like comes on like every computer.
I can't believe he has an interesting life after creating an antivirus software.
Yeah, he does. You gotta. It's pretty surprising. But guy's kind of fucked up. But
I figured it was the guy who made the software because that's a pretty uncommon name. But I was like, maybe he could be some. I don't know, he could be like some kind of Bolivian rock star.
I was about to say the same thing as Pat McAfee, the old Colts punter. That's the only one I could think of.
I'd recommend his podcast too.
Yeah,
but of course, there's only one podcast that you should be listening to. So,
do I get a recommendation too?
Of course. Yeah, absolutely.
So quite recently, I have been playing a game that's on Game Pass, one of those indie garbage games, but I've gotten completely sucked into it and I've been having a ton of fun on it. It's called My Time at Portia. It's kind of like I'm not sure if you guys have ever heard of or played a game like Stardew Valley. So it's kind of like farming, interacting with villagers, mining, combat, all that kind of stuff. It's just kind of like a more peaceful RPG almost, where you get your house, you get your home front and all that kind of stuff, but you can also go like fight stuff. And I've been completely sucked into it. There's like every time I think I've gotten to like a point where I feel like I've got a good grasp on it, there's some new mechanic comes in. Like I have only been in one part of the map so far, and then like right now I'm working on building a bridge so I can go to a whole different city, and I'm like, that's insane to me. I've been playing this quite a bit, and there's still apparently 5 cities throughout the whole game. So if you like RPGs that are a little easier to swallow for more casual gamers, I would highly recommend it.
And Portia's spelled Portia?
Yeah.
Okay.
Portia.
Yeah, when I kept calling it Portia, then they said it in the game. I was like, oh, okay.
It's like when I was reading Harry Potter as a kid, and I thought it was Hermione until I saw the movie.
That must have blown your mind as a kid.
Well, they said it was Hermione. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, who?
I think I also read it wrong, because I remember talking to somebody about it, maybe my aunt or somebody, and they're like, oh, it's pronounced this way. And I was like, what?
Well, there's a lot of crazy names in Harry Potter, so it's pretty easy to like mispronounce them in your head and then just have that going forward as you're reading it until, whatever, Sorcerer's Stone or Philosopher's Stone if you're dirty, until that came out in theaters, and you're like, oh shit, all right, well, there you go. On that wonderful note, we'd like to thank you all for, again, sticking with us, watching every week, no matter how you do it, audio, video, however you guys feel like getting your split screen media content. Yeah, we hope that again, comment if you guys have any suggestions for the future, if you guys want to see anybody on or you want to be on.
And what the Jar Jar surprise.
Yeah, you'll get a Jar Jar surprise in your email.
Everyone's subscribing.
I hope so. Definitely like our social medias too, because we post good stuff and nobody likes them. So
I will say follow our social media, especially if you're an audio listener, because we'll post our tier list, our final results on there. So because I feel like it might have gotten a little confusing for audio listeners, because we had the visual up on screen. So we'll post a picture of that on our social media so you can follow along.
Yeah, those tier lists might be a little hard for people who do Spotify. So
yeah,
we'll try and do those few and far between if you guys, are like, I don't even know what's happening on the screen. But yeah, again, thank you, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Thanks for having me back. Peace.